Well, it's official now. There is a war going on between the United States and Israel on one side and Iran on the other side. This has been a long time coming, a lot of build up towards this. The way this started, the way the active shooting phase started was very interesting. I'm sure there's going to be a lot said about it for years to come. There's a question, did Netanyahu surprise the United States, drag the United States into this? Was that or was it planned out ahead of time, kind of the diplomatic cover for how to get into this war? In my opinion, the United States, especially the United States led by a Trump administration, has been complicit in this and has been part of the planning from the beginning, and it likely goes back even further. We see during Trump's first administration, even kind of the shaping of the diplomacy, the aggression towards Iran, undoing what the Obama administration had seemed to be trying to do to bring about peace with Iran. Trump going about undoing that, launching hostilities against Syria, doing sanctions and targeted killings against Iran. And now, in his second term, the war has gotten hot. There are now U.S. warplanes with U.S. pilots bombing Iran. And of course, the Israelis have been doing that for a week now. So, of course, it shouldn't need to be said, but I'm going to say it. Elections matter. Speaking as an American from the United States, elections matter. I can say my opinion here, and I do certainly believe this. I stand by this opinion. It is good that we had Obama rather than McCain in 2008. It was a good thing that we had Obama rather than Romney in 2012. In 2016, we should have gotten Sanders instead of Trump or Clinton. In 2020, again, we should have had Sanders instead of Donald Trump or Joe Biden. In 2024, we should have had Harris instead of Donald Trump. We have the chances to vote these people in, vote these people out, and there are consequences for it. Now, I'm just mentioning the names of the major candidates. Of course, there are probably lesser known candidates from some of these third parties who would have been much better even than the people I was talking about. But here we are. We have this administration that has a history of being very hostile towards Iran, very supportive of hawkish Israeli policies, and unfortunately, hawkish Israeli policies has been simply Israeli policy for quite some time now. The United States and Israel going along together with these hawkish policies, and now there is a war with Iran. What's going to happen? Where's this going to go? God willing, Iran is going to take things very cautiously. There are certainly all kinds of things Iran could do to retaliate, but the truth is, and I'm pretty sure Iranian leadership knows it, the United States wants retaliation so that they can have diplomatic cover to ramp up the war even more. Who knows how far the people behind this want it to go? How far does Trump and Netanyahu want this to go? I don't know. Do they want ground invasion, occupation? Do they want just kind of an endless war of attrition where they can just bomb Iran like they did Iraq for year after year for a decade or more, just keep them down, or like the United States did with Syria? Is that the kind of situation you're going for? The problem with that scenario is that the whole time that this war goes on, Iran will be striking Israel. Now, for people who say that Israel controls the United States foreign policy, this seems to be disproving that. Why would Israel want a scenario whereby the United States hits Iran and then Israel is the shield essentially that takes ballistic missiles on their cities that are destroying building after building, block after block? People are trying to get out of the country. Is that something that Israel would have orchestrated? Perhaps some of these extremist Israeli politicians like Netanyahu, who basically have nothing of a career if not to be a war leader. But I think the more reasonable, probable explanation is that United States hawks in the United States have been using Israel as a proxy, using Israel to uh, get these other countries into war that the United States can then carry out their own foreign policy of destabilizing country after country. The end goal being to bring the world down so that the United States remains the major power, the major economic power in the world. When people talk about the good old days, you have to go back to the good old days, when everyone had a well-paying job and one salary could get you a house and college education, all that kind of thing. Well, that's because the United States was far and away the major economy in the world, with the rest of the world having come out of two world wars or coming out of medieval style feudal or imperial systems like China was, coming out of war and coming out of outdated government methods, coming into the modern era. The whole world was at a lower level than the United States in the 1950s, 60s, 70s. As time went on, the so-called developing world became more and more developed, and the United States has gone about a policy of trying to remedy that, keeping the world down, keeping Russia down, keeping Europe down, even keeping rising countries in the Middle East and Africa and East Asia down. How effective can they be? Who knows? I mean, they can be pretty effective when they target a specific country. They were pretty effective on Syria, pretty effective on Libya, pretty effective on Iraq. Thank God, time goes on and people and countries can heal. I worry about Israel. This may sound funny, Israel's been so belligerent, such a cause of distress and pain in this world. But once upon a time, I think in the context of their time, they were a promising country. They had a violent start, but it was in a very violent period of world history, and they had some ideals that were very good. They, in many cases, were an example of what a country could be in that part of the world. And I think that's been thrown away, and now they have put themselves in great danger with this war with Iran, and finally starting a war with someone who can hit them relentlessly and hit them hard relentlessly. If I were an Israeli, I've been saying this for months now, just from the way they were treating the people of Gaza and all the ire it was bringing on that country, as the time to get out of Israel while you could. And I think now it's very clear that if you're an Israeli and you can get out, and I think most of them are able to get visas or passports at other countries, now is a good time to go start a life somewhere else. I know it's a very hard thing for people to do, but it may be a good idea to do it while you can. Think about the poor people of Gaza, people of the West Bank who can't even do that. So if you're in a situation where your country is going downhill in a very violent, extremist way, you've got to see the signs of the times, so to speak, and do what you can to preserve yourself and preserve your family and what comes after you. The only way this ends is if someone really humbles themselves. I don't know who's going to do that. Are the Iranians now going to seek peace, seek a ceasefire? I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, they have shown in history that they can be very, very pragmatic. Taking a humiliating blow if it means the survival of their country and of their form of government. Would Israelis do such a thing? It seems that with the current Israeli government and current public opinion, they don't really have the political strength to back down, and they may not think it necessary yet. who knows what's going to happen over the next few weeks. That's really going to determine, what the different players are going to be thinking. For the United States, though, unfortunately, it's easy for them to wage a war like this. They can do this low-level war that wreaks destruction on other countries, in this case on Iran and on Israel, but doesn't actually harm the United States. It doesn't harm the U.S. citizens, doesn't harm U.S. infrastructure. They can and they do engage in these kinds of wars, sometimes for many, many years. It's a terrible drain on the American economy. It's a drain on the morality of the country, but history has shown that the United States has the capability to do it, and that it is very politically easy for elected politicians, for presidents, especially a president who only has 3 more years to be president and won't be running again. It'd be very easy for Donald Trump to just maintain a war against Iran for the rest of his term. So I think the hope that we could see a quick end to this would be in Iran finding the moral strength, the political ability to find a way out, to get some kind of a settlement. Probably not a peace treaty, but at least a ceasefire, which would probably require Iran ceasing to launch strikes on Israel or on U.S. assets even before Israel and the U.S. stop striking Iran. That's, I think, the hope. It's the thing that we can pray for. Please pray. Please hope. This is not destined to be. I know there is fatalism surrounding these kind of events where people will say, well, must be the Lord's will, or, well, this was destined to happen. No, we do not live under a curse. We are not doomed to live in a world that goes downhill. Even in Old Testament times, people learned that. Read Ezekiel chapter 18. God doesn't put people under curses where the past dedicates the future. God wants good things. We should want good things. We should pray and claim good things, claim miracles, like Jesus stopping the storm. Even the wind obeys Jesus. We can make a difference through our prayer and through obeying the commandments of Jesus, doing good. Even when people hurt us, we do good. Even when we are in pain, we think about the needs of others. Even when we are scared, we act brave and we support others. Don't think about ourselves. We think about ourselves, but we think about others on the same level as we think about ourselves. That's how we make a difference. That's how we win. I believe this world is going to be a much better place in the coming years than it is now. And I say that because we are in a much better place now than we were in the past. We are in a bit of a funk right now, where things have gone downhill, I would say, over the last few years. But that doesn't mean it's permanent. It's not going to keep on trending that way. Trends change, and I have hope. I have faith that we will see better days. Well, thanks for watching. Please leave your comments below. If you like what I'm trying to do with this channel, please leave your comments and subscribe, and I look forward to talking to you again. Bye for now.